I'm going to stop in Portland again and visit there. I don't know. I got to see how I feel. I don't know if I'm going to be at your house this day or this day, you know. And he's like, hey, why don't I meet you up in Portland? I was like, okay, cool. And because I had no cell signal barely in Canada, I was like, can you check how long it's going to take me to get from this point? I was like in Maple Ridge, which is next to Langley and next to Vancouver and stuff like that. I said, can you figure out how long it's going to take me to get from there to Portland? He's like, sure, it'll be only maybe like 5 hours or something, I think he said. And I'm like, that's doable because on this trip I have gone 6 or 8 hours driving. But I did not account for the fact I would be hitting the traffic through Seattle and Portland and a bunch of other places and terrible rain and the border, crossing over the border, and all that stuff. I did not even think about it. So what was supposed to take like a 5.5 hour trip really took like 7.5 or 8 hours nearly. It was fucking crazy. And I was so sick. And if I didn't have to have met my friend in Portland, I would have pulled over and just crashed somewhere. You know, I would have driven only 3 hours or something and then crashed, you know, and just slept in the van somewhere. So we get to Portland, Oregon, and I can't find Steven. And I'm like, here's my address. This is where I parked the van. I am going to nap until you find me, basically, because he had already gotten there an hour or two early. And he's like, where are you? Where are you? I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I can't help. There's traffic and everything else. So I get to Portland. We're in downtown Portland. So he rode the bus up from Eugene, Oregon, which only took him, I think, 2.5 hours. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and then he calls me and he's like, I forgot my backpack where I was hanging out at some bar or something. And I was like, oh my god. So now I wait like another, feels like almost 2 hours in total, it feels like, that I waited for him to come find me. So he gets into the van and I'm like, I am so sick. We need to crash like right now. And I was starving and I feel like everything was already closed. I didn't want to walk anywhere to go find food. I couldn't even manage to get anything out of anywhere out of the van to eat something. So I'm like, let's just crash here, which is really interesting because he is huge. Like my friend Steven is like a big dude. He is like 6'2", 200 and probably at least 220 pounds or a little more or something like that. He's a big dude, you know? So it was like he's in a little gnome house here, you know what I mean? But we did okay. He spent the night. Nothing happened, people. He's a really good friend of mine, okay? We go way back, alright? But anyways, it was pretty funny to have, like, set everything out. I'm like, look, there's 2 ways we can sleep here, you know, because he's just such a big dude. I'm like, whatever is, you know, I'll sleep wherever. I'll sleep in the front seat so you can have the back, whatever, you know? And so we figure something out for the sleeping arrangement, and he, you know, it's pretty interesting, and he's, of course, got to go pee, and I'm like, I can't even drag the toilet out, I'm so freaking tired, you know, me, I'm small enough, I could fit in that little corner and go pee. I'm like, you got a dick, you're tall, just reach over, pee in there, I don't care, you know. And anyways, he figures out something to go to the restroom, you know, and I think he did it hobo style. It was so sick. I think he just had an empty container, peed in that, dumped it out later, kind of thing. I was just like, wow. Anyways, so we hang out, we go to the Portland Zoo the next day, and we eat at McDonald's, and we go to the Portland Zoo. That was all I could muster up for energy to do anything, and he was the coolest person to go to the zoo with, because both him and I love animals. Like, I'm actually against the zoo, but every once in a blue moon, probably once every like 10 or 15 years, I kind of do like to go, because that's the closest I'll ever get to a lot of those animals, and like, I love animals. So I was like, you know, and I don't like how the zoos are here in California, kind of, so, or at least the Bay Area, whatever. So anyways, it was really pretty. I took Spike with me. That was really cool. I will show you guys in another video what it was like going to the zoo with him. You know, it was pretty cool because, you know, he's my service dog, and it really helped, and it was a lot of fun to bring him. And then just as we're like, okay, let's start going home because we're sure the zoo's going to close soon, we start getting ready, and it pours like fucking crazy. And I'm like, Steven, just get us back to the car, because I was starting to feel so sick, and I was losing my breath. I was just exhausted, you know. And I was like, get us back to the car right away. And it is pouring, and he takes us this roundabout way, and we end up going in a circle. And then he's like, oh, look at all these animals we didn't see. I'm like, I don't care, it's pouring rain. We need to go to the van right now. And he gets us to the van, and then it's like, oh, Yeah, in the parking lot, there was that place and that place, like 2 other really cool places to have gone to go see. I think one was like, there's a children's museum or something. There was an arborist place or something, some other museum. And it's like, we didn't get to go do that, you know? And I was like, oh well. So then I told Steven, I'm like, let's go home, meaning to his house. So we stop in, I don't know, Eugene, Oregon or something like that. When we stop at this pizza place, and then we make it to his house. We spend the night at his house, and I'm so exhausted and tired, and Spike's like completely worn out. Spike's like nearly dead at that time, you know. And then the next day, it's just fucking pouring rain. We don't really do a whole lot, I don't think. I don't really remember. And then I think I spend one more night at his house. And then I get to meet his pigs and his chickens and his 2 dogs. And he has a little lizard, a little iguana. And we hang out and we go eat with his parents. And then I pretty much say I gotta go because it's time for me to start heading home. So then I drive from Eugene, Oregon, all the way. Technically, Steven lives in Springfield, which is next to Eugene, Oregon. And we also ate at the cool little, like, Chiba Hut is called. I will do a video on that place. It's in Eugene, Oregon, which was so cool. And then I decide I gotta start heading home. So I drive from Eugene, Oregon, and then I decided to go to Clear Lake because it was on my way home back to the Bay Area. So I go to Clear Lake in California, get there about 4-ish. I want to spend the night because I don't want to do any more driving. And the lady's like, we're not really doing camping yet. The camping season's not really started yet. And I'm just like, no. And then she's like looking at me. She's like, whoa, yeah, we don't have the tent camping. I'm like, I don't do tent camping. I got this thing outfitted. She's like, what? Well, she's like, I mean, we don't really do the RV camping. It's just a spot. It'll be $30. But you gotta be self-sufficient, no hookups. I'm like, I am. What do you mean by self-sufficient, by the way? What are you guys' standards? So she looks at the van, and I qualify as being self-sufficient to their standards. So, way cool. I'll do another video on that. You know, what made this self-sufficient, you know? So anyways, I spent the night there at Clear Lake. Thankfully, Spike and I walked around the night before, because the next morning, it just was pouring and raining. And so we just hung out there till our checkout time, which was about noon. Then I drive back to home, basically, and just drive a bunch of hours. And I make it home Sunday on the 16th at I guess it was like 4 or 5. And then I gotta tell everybody I'm back, I'm safe. Everyone's like, how's your trip? I'm like, kind of sucked. I didn't get to have a vacation on my vacation, so now I need a vacation. Because the whole trip in a nutshell was driving, windy, chilly, raining. Like, that was my whole trip in a nutshell. I got to do a couple of fun things, got to go out and eat, but I was so sick, so a lot of spots I had to take extra days. And it's like I just never got better, which is rare. Because when I get sick normally, I'm only sick 2 days, maybe 3 days max, and then I'm fine. Or if I feel a little tinge of something, I just rest, and then I perk up, and then I'm fine. So I was sick like 2 weeks. Like, so sick. Like, having the worst flu and the worst cold ever combined. It was the weirdest thing. I can't remember the last time I was ever that sick. Every inch of my body fucking hurt. Like, I'm just kind of terrible at traveling, I guess. I don't know how. I need to do it more often, you know. So, pretty much that was my trip. And, you know, there was some highlight stuff. There was some cool things. I mean, it was good to just get away from here and do something different. But it just sucked to not be able to ride my bike. I mean, I got to see a beach over in Oak Harbor. We rode our bikes like 15 minutes, you know, and hung out there, and then we came back to their house, you know. I got to do a few little fun things here or there, but it's like I just didn't get to enjoy it like I normally would have because I was so sick, and anything I did just exhausted me. So then it's like I would do something for 20 minutes and then be like, now I got to rest for 2 hours. You know, so it just kind of really sucked. It was like not fair. Like, I never get a vacation because I own my own business, and it's a business that is ran year round, you know. It's just like I'm just fully booked all the time, you know, to make all this money, and you know, it's just like crazy. So, I am so sorry this video is so long. I'm so sorry I have not done a video for you guys in a very long time. My whole month before I left on my trip, I was slammed with work. I was trying to sell my bus that I still have, trying to get the work done on that, trying to prepare for this trip. I mean, to me, this was a huge trip. You know, preparing the van, preparing all the little things. I was going to be gone for 2 weeks. That's a lot of things to have in check for your trip and before your trip, you know, and running your own business on top of it. And my business isn't like 9 to 5 and then I can take care of my personal stuff. My business is around the clock, you know, because I'm a pet care specialist. Dog walks, pet sitting, grooming, training, pet taxi, all that stuff, you know. I'm a one-woman show, you know. So, you know, and I had a couple of new clients right before I left too, so I had to, you know, make sure they're all good for everything too. And yeah, so that's probably going to be the most traveling I'm ever going to do in a very long time. I want to take more trips, but I think they're going to have to be shorter trips or just weekend trips. I definitely want to do more camping trips, that's for sure, you know, but it's just hard with my schedule with Pet Sits. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to look at my calendar, what's not booked already for Pet Sits, and try to block off that time and figure out what trips I'm taking when and where, and how much it's going to cost and all that other stuff. So before this video is probably even more longer, and thank you guys for all the new subscribers, all the love, all the positive comments. You guys, I am very fortunate to have the audience that I do, you know. Thank you guys always. And Spike and I are getting a little hot in the car now also, so we need to go in. I need to go wash him from our trip. You're pretty dirty, aren't you? You don't look it, but you are.